All right, 2025 is going to be a very, very interesting year. Yeah, we've already got some computer issues this morning, but we're dealing through it. All right, so my name is Ed Weir, and we've got a full agenda today. 2025. There's been a 40-year plan. I've got the playbook in the description in YouTube there. There's been a 40-year plan, essentially to privatize Social Security, give Social Security over to Wall Street. And so we're going to do everything we possibly can to make sure that doesn't happen. So I've got a full agenda today. We're going to talk about some interesting things that just happened in the most recent Congress, the new Congress that just started a few days ago. There's already been some sneaky stuff in there. So I'm going to keep you all abreast of all that kind of information. 2025 is the most important year. We've been kicking the can down the road for decades to solve Social Security to make sure there are no cuts in the future. And if you're new to my channel, people that the regular viewers to my channel know that there's going to be cuts in the future. We're looking at anywhere from 21, 22% that are going to happen in 2034, probably a little bit earlier now that the Social Security Fairness Act has passed. And then if the next president gets some of the stuff he's talking about, then they're going to be cuts sooner and deeper. So it's important that we make sure that doesn't happen. And again, this is a 40-year program. We are on the 1 yard goal line. This is it. They essentially won. We won the battle in 2005. President Bush tried to privatize Social Security, tried to give money over to Wall Street, tried to kind of half privatize as a kind of a next step to full privatization. We beat that back. We won that battle in 2005, but the war is not over. So this is the second battle, and this is probably the most important one right now. This year and next, we got a new Congress, and there's all kinds of sneaky things happening here. I've talked about some of um, the recent information out there. So this is a long time procedure. This has been going on 40 years. Build fear that the system is not going to be there. It's not going to be there when you get ready to retire. So don't worry about it. Ignore the solutions, ignore the problems, delay, 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 kick the can down the road, wait for the crisis to happen. And guess what? Now the crisis is here. The cuts are upon us. And when the crisis hits, they're going to start appointing people in particular positions to give your money over to Wall Street, propose amendments, oppose plans. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, those plans that are in the works right now. And I've talked about this. And then when the final piece of the puzzle is the president, whether the president is going to be on board with whatever changes. The president-elect Trump said he is not going to cut benefits and he is not going to raise the retirement age. Awesome, perfect. But that alone is not going to solve the issue because there are going to be cuts going forward. And it's incumbent upon us to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay. All right. So this is some of the videos I've made previously on this. Just kind of recap the new people. Senator Bill Cassidy, a senator from Louisiana, said that he is going to be introducing a plan to give $1.5 trillion of your Social Security savings to Wall Street so they can invest in Wall Street and real estate and whatever else. So he said he's going to be introducing that here very, very soon. So it's going to be a nice little jackpot for the billionaires on Wall Street. And, for the rest of us, good luck with that. There's either the senator from Oklahoma this gentleman is either the most uninformed person on Social Security that has ever served in Congress, or he knows what he's talking about, and he's essentially talking about ending spouse benefits and child benefits. So this is another video I've done. So make sure you check that out. And there's all kinds of different ways that have been tried over the last 40 years to make us hate Social Security, and they're doing a really good job on that. Destroying customer service. Now we're at a 50-year low in terms of staffing people to help you at Social Security get the benefits you're entitled to, the benefits you need. And so there's there's this strategy to kind of death by a thousand cuts. And Senator John Kennedy did the same type of thing. He alluded that there's 6.5 million dead people receiving Social Security benefits. He never really said it, but the way he framed it, he knew people were going to pick it up on the internet and kind of take A and B and come up with, you know, pumpkin, something completely different, which people did. And there's been a lot of myths going out there about the fact that, yes, Social Security, they're giving out benefits to 6.5 million dead people, which he never really said, but people, that's how they picked it up. And that's what his intention was, another way to kind of destroy our confidence in Social Security. So, what is the new thing? So, this was just passed a few days ago in the new Congress. It gets very, very technical. This is how it's going to happen. They're going to get very, very technical, kind of in the weeds, parliamentary procedures. There was an attempt when they passed the Social Security Fairness Act, kind of a late middle of the night attempt to kind of raise the retirement age to 70. Luckily, nobody jumped on there at that time, but that doesn't mean it's not going to, they're going to try it again. But this is their attempt to kind of sneak changes in there. And one day we wake up and Wall Street has all our money and the billionaires are going to charge us, 10, 20, 30%, 40% commission for every dollar we make. So, if some people out there want that, and if you do, then more power to you. But a vast majority of Americans are not interested in privatizing Social Security, giving Social Security over to Wall Street. But so this is a section in the new House rules. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but it just basically this is a method for them, kind of scare tactics. Well, there is, there's a bit of fear there, that everybody has fear that their benefits are going to be cut. And but the solution politicians have is, well, we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas. So the only idea we have now is cut your benefits, raise the retirement age, or give all your money to Wall Street, even though there's many, many other ideas. One of them is raise the FICA cap. For those people new to my channel, raising the FICA cap. What does that mean? It basically, if you are making over $176,100 this year in 2025, you no longer pay Social Security FICA tax anymore. If you're making under that, you're paying FICA tax on every single dollar you make. But for those making over 176,100, you're no longer paying Social Security FICA tax. So that is one solution that will save about 75%, solve 75% of the issue. And again, I've got this, I'm just not, just rattling off numbers and stats here. You can go into the YouTube, my YouTube description, and it has the Social Security Trustees Report. It has the Social Security Actuaries Report, and it has all the details in there. So if we just raise the cap, then 75% of the issue, actually 73% of the issue, I want to make sure I'm accurate here, 73% of the issue will be solved. And then we just need to find some, a few percent here, a few percent there. So ask your kids or your grandkids to pull out their calculator and add 73% and with another 5% here, 10% here. And guess what? No cuts for you in the future. Pretty simple to solve. The only reason it's not simple is because the people that control, the politicians are the people that are going to be, paying that extra 6.2%. And obviously they're paying the other 6.2% because they're mostly employers themselves. But we've been paying that for decades and decades and decades. We've been paying, money on every dollar we make. So it's only fair that they share the pain just like we have for this past several decades. So this is the very last line is, I think, is the most important. This subsection also allows the chair of the Committee on the Budget to designate major legislation for purposes of this order. So they're going to use this particular uh, rule to say, okay, everything is ending. Social Security is going bankrupt, which is not going bankrupt. The trust fund is running out, but Social Security itself is not going bankrupt. I'm going to give another class later on kind of when politicians say this is what they actually mean. When politicians say this is the BS that's, what the old saying is, how do you know a politician is lying? They're moving their lips, right? So I'm going to give another kind of, I'll do a presentation, a video on that probably within the next week or so. But this last line is that they are going to create the crisis, which they've already created by kicking the can down the road for decades. And then they're going to use that last line to kind of come up with some type of special committee and say, hey, again, we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas. And our only idea is to cut your all's benefits, raise the retirement age, which President Trump said he won't do. So, since we can't do that, I guess the only thing we can do is give all the money to Wall Street, the billionaires in the cabinet and their billionaire friends and their supporters. Um, and one of the interesting things that's I always find ironical is that one of the myths out there is that the Social Security Trust Fund, which is about $2.7 trillion right now in the trust fund, our savings that we put into Social Security for the future, according to a lot of politicians out there, that's all fake money. It's not real. It's just IOUs, monopoly money, whatever the case may be. But as soon as they want that money to give it to Wall Street, all of a sudden, guess what? It is actually real money. Um, so, yeah, that's kind of ironical. And it's like, wait a second, politician, senator, rep, congressperson, didn't you say that money yesterday was all fake? But now, if all of a sudden it's real when you want to give it to your buddies on Wall Street, that doesn't sound much logical sense. So it is not logical sense. So this is this is going to be kind of a quarterback sneak. And we need to rally the troops. We're on the 1 yard line. We won the battle, but we just might win. Just might lose the war if we don't. Again, 2025 is very, very crucial. So we definitely need to do something here. And again, if we sit on our hands, do nothing, then when the cuts happen here I mean, looks like 7, 8, 9 years, which is relatively quick. Time flies when you're having fun. We have nobody to blame but ourselves. So when the cuts happen here in a few years, we'll come out here with a video and I say, okay, well, what did you do? What did you do to make sure those cuts didn't happen? And what can you do right now is you can reach out. This is still a democracy, a representative democracy, republic, whatever you want to call it. But your senators, your congresspeople, they answer the phones. Hopefully their people answer the phone. So reach out to them, reach out to your senators, your two senators, reach out to your house, your congressperson, your house of representative, call the Capitol switchboard, call the president, go onto their website, go on to their Twitter accounts and their Facebook accounts and put down there and say, hey, number one, if you agree with most people that watch my channel, that they should smash the cap, the FICA cap, and everybody should pay the equal amount into Social Securities. Everybody should pay that 6.2%, just like we do. Number two, what are you doing to improve customer service at your local Social Security office? Because that's one of the ways they cut benefits now. People are worried about cuts in the future. And if we don't do something, yes, there are going to be cuts in the future. But unfortunately, a lot of people are getting cuts right now. How are they getting cuts right now? Is because they're not able to access their benefits. They're not picking up the phones. Just a new report came out in December. Less than 50% of people were able to get into Social Security when they called. And that's just a way to keep you from your benefits, denied, delay. And this is not by Social Security. These are by politicians. Social Security is at a 50-year low in terms of staffing. The terrible resources. I ran the third business Social Security office in the country. That was a couple of years ago. Staffing was still tough, but it's even 10 times worse now. And that is a conscious decision by these politicians that want to privatize Social Security, give that money over to Wall Street. And people are going to say, oh, you're being political and stuff like no. I blame both sides, Republicans and Democrats. One side, they come right out and say they want to privatize Social Security. They want to give your money over to Wall Street. And the other group comes out there and says they don't, but then they don't do anything to stop it, or they haven't been able to do anything to stop it, which is the same as kind of an incompetence, I guess. And this has been going on for 40 years. So I blame Trump because he was president before. I blame Biden. I blame Obama. I blame the Clintons. I blame the Bushes, all the Congress people from the 1980s on that didn't solve this issue. Obviously, in 2005, the ones that stopped privatization did a great job. They stopped the attempt to privatize Social Security, but they didn't finish the battle. They didn't finish the war. They should have fixed it to where it won't inevitably be the cuts in the future, but they dropped the ball, and now it's time for us to pick up that ball and yeah, defend Social Security. So, what are you doing to improve customer service? And number three, people ask your congressperson, what are you doing to stop the cuts? And if they say, well, I'm not going to cut, me and the president said we're not going to cut or raise the retirement age. Okay, that's fine, beautiful, awesome, great, awesome. We like that. Great job. What about the cuts that are going to happen? Again, don't take my word for it. In the description of my YouTube, I have the Social Security Trustees report that talks about the inevitable cuts that are going to happen. People are always asking, "Well, I'm already receiving benefits. I'll be grandfathered in." No, that's not how the law is written right now. This has never happened since 1935, where we're looking at cuts like this. And the law is, if $7 comes into Social Security, that's the only amount that can be paid out. So if 100% comes in, 100% can be paid out to the 100% of the people that are earning Social Security. But if only 70% comes in, then only 70% can be paid out. What is covering basically the 25% right now? The Social Security Trust Fund. So last year we pulled out about $70 billion from the Social Security Trust Fund, and we put it in people's checks. People say, "Whatever happened to the trust fund?" It's in your check. Look at your direct deposit. A certain percentage of that comes from the trust fund. Even more so this year, more so the next year, more so the next year. And then it's going to run out. The savings account is going to run out, and then only the amount coming in from people actually paying in Social Security, because Social Security is going to be here forever, as long as people pay FICA taxes. So, but your kids and your grandkids, if they only pay 75% in of what is needed, then only 75% can be paid out. The other 25% people are going to have to find, some other place. So Social Security is always going to be here unless we drop the ball this year and we let them pass that over to Wall Street, and then Social Security is not going to be here as we know it, since it's been around since 1935. Then it's going to be privatized. So please reach out to your politicians, and then come back here and add your remark and say, "Hey, I reached out to this politician and this, that, and the other." And I mean, this is it. This is 2025. I'm going to keep up on this year. Any type of sneaky stuff that happens like this, I am going to report. This is also an attack on Medicare as well. They're rolling back the inflation. They want to roll back the Inflation Reduction Act, which reduced prices of insulin to $35 a month. It capped Part D prescription drugs to $2,000 per year, and that they're looking to roll that back as well, and no more negotiating for drugs. The last president, or the current president, set up 10 drugs to be negotiated. The Veterans Administration and other agencies, they are able to negotiate drug prices, but for some crazy reason, Medicare isn't allowed to, but they are now. But they're looking to roll that back as well. So if you want that stopped, now is the time to reach out to your politicians and say, "Yeah, we know what you're doing, and we're not in." So, all right. So let's go ahead, and as I mentioned, part of my mission in semi-retirement is to help you get all the benefits you're eligible for, you earned, and also to make sure those benefits don't get cut in the future. So, as part of my first mission, let me go into all your questions. Gary, what if you find out that your birthday is off by 8 days after 60 years? I will be 65 this year. No problem. Happens all the time. So when you go file for benefits, it might be a good idea to go ahead and get that taken care of first, because it's based on your numident. And you're like, "What's a numident?" It's basically your Social Security card, the internal system that shows your Social Security card. And it has your name, all the names you've used. It has your date of birth. It has your parents' names. It has your mother's maiden name, the city and state you were born. So your Social Security card, the little piece of paper that you have just has your name and your Social Security number. But internally, it has all that other information. So your Social Security number is basically wrong. So what you should do is download an SS5. That's the request for a new Social Security card, because that's what you need, is a new Social Security card. You request a new Social Security card, and in your particular case, you're correcting the date of birth. You're not going to get a new number or anything. You're just going to get, updated date of birth there. So, but you'll need your birth certificate, the original birth certificate, not a copy, not a notarized copy. It has to be the original birth certificate from the issuing agency, wherever you were born. So just a SS5 and birth certificate, and they'll be able to fix that. I would probably do that sooner rather than later. You might be able, they're updating the computer system for electronic social security numbers. You might be able to do it online. I would try that first, but yours, because you're changing the date of birth, probably not. You'll probably have to start it online, and they might request recommend the documentation that they'll need. So can I drop only B of Medicare A and B? I'm on SS only. Can I? Yes, you can drop only B. If you're receiving Social Security benefits, you cannot drop Part A unless there is an exceptions, as everything with Social Security, there's always an exceptions. If you're paying for Part A, some people do pay for Part A that do not pay into Social Security enough. But if your Part A is free, you cannot drop Part A. But it's zero premium anyway. But yes, you can drop Part B. Like if, for instance, if you go back to work and your employer, providing health insurance, and they have their employer plan has 20 or more employees, then you can drop Part B if that applies to you or your spouse, the current work. But if you drop Part B and don't have credible coverage like that, then in the future, if you pick it up again, then they're going to charge you a penalty, 10% for every 12 months you did not have Part B. So perhaps, I'm not sure why you want to drop Part B, is because you went back to work. If that's good, then perfect. But if you just want to drop it because of, the cost of Part B, which is the $185, then I would check out other options. If you're having a hard time, if you know anybody that's having a hard time paying for Part B, there's a couple of options. One of them is to reach out to your state Medicaid office, Department of Welfare, Social Services, whatever it is, and ask them to pay for your Part B. You apply for Medicaid, and if they approve you, it's called the Medicare Savings Program. They'll approve you for Medicaid, and they'll pay for that $185 for Part B. And then you'll get the extra help with prescription drugs and a lot more health care. And then there's another way to do it is there are Medicare Advantage plans. Regular viewers to my channel know I always, always, always recommend Medicare supplement plans first. So if you're looking for a Medicare plan, if you're new to be, you're signing up for Medicare, you need to find a Medicare plan, and always, always check out Medicare supplements first, a plan N or a plan G. F used to be around, but those are, most people that are able to get F are 99% of people get to N and G nowadays. The F is kind of being phased out. But N and G, check out those first. And if it just doesn't work for you for whatever reason, then start checking out a Medicare Advantage. And that's why I partnered with Chapter there. You can reach out to them and they can help you. They work the entire country. And they can look at all the plans available in your area and tell you the difference between N and a G. And then if you decide to go for a Medicare Advantage plan, then, they'll check your doctors, your prescriptions, and try to find you the best plan possible. And that's 100% free service. But there's a Medicare Advantage plan called a Part B Give Back. And it's basically, if it's available in your area, then as the name implies, it gives back part of your Part B. So you sign up for the Medicare Advantage plan, and it may pay for $50 or $100 or $185 of your Part B premium. So that's another way that you can get your Medicare Part B paid for. So yeah, there's a lot of people that say, I just can't afford the $185, and then they cancel. And then later on, then it's like they can't afford the monthly premium plus the 10, 20, 30, 40%. Yeah. So yeah. Yes, the Republicans have been trying to privatize Social Security for decades. It's never going to happen because the people won't stand for it. Yes, and again, I don't want to get partisan here. The Democrats, a lot of Democrats, they spout we're going to support Social Security, but then they really don't do anything. But like the Social Security Fairness Act, a lot of very, very left wing Democrats supported the Social Security Fairness Act, which is not fair, and it also cripples Social Security even more. So yeah, I'm holding both sides accountable there, but I like that last line. It won't happen because we won't stand for it. There we go. I like that. I like that. So let's stand for it. This is our moment this year, 2025. So anything crazy these people try, if you see something, say something. I watch the news. I watch C-SPAN. I have no life. Sorry. I watch all these little intricacies, all the little backroom dealings, and if I see anything like that, I bring it to your attention, and flip on the light so the cockroaches go running. And so that's exactly what we need. We need to make sure we expose these people because it looks as though they're going to set up an inevitable situation where they already have, where they painted us into a corner and we're just stuck in the corner, and it's like, well, you're in the corner. Yeah, come on, you put us there because you didn't do anything. We wanted social security to be saved and to make sure it's good for our children and grandchildren, but y'all refuse to get off your butts and do something. And now your only options is giving it over to Wall Street, cuts or retirement age or stop spouse benefits or whatever. Yeah. So um, Dr. Ed, as an expat living abroad, if I return to the US due to a serious illness, will I qualify for a special enrollment period, 90 days SEP for Medicare Part C and D? No. Well, it, if you're looking for a Medicare Advantage, then now is the time. We're in the original enrollment period, the open enrollment period. Original, it's actually the original. Yeah, but anyway, the open enrollment period for Medicare Part B, as in boy, and Medicare Advantage. Actually, you can also January, February, March. You can switch your Medicare Advantage plan, so if you picked one, last year, or you forgot to pick one and you find out that, wow, this one is really terrible this year, now is the time to do it. Call Chapter and they can find out if there's a better plan in your area. But this is also the time, January, February, March, you've got the general enrollment period for Part B. The enrollment periods are a nightmare. Sorry. But so if you've been an expat and you stopped your Part B, then you can sign up for Part B now. You can re-enroll in Part B now, but there's going to be a penalty, 10% for every 12 months you didn't have it. And then once your Part B starts, then you can go ahead and sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan. Probably not a Medicare supplement plan, depending on your state. But yeah, I would definitely reach out to someone you know and trust, a Medicare insurance broker, prefer to broker rather than agent, someone that represents a whole bunch of companies. But you can also reach out to Chapter there. And yeah, I can never find your petitions. Please make it clear. Yeah, the petitions. I was talking to some people on the inside, and they say, yeah, the petitions. It's best to call directly and give your story. So call your politician. That's the most efficient thing. I'll probably reopen the petition again. But the most important thing, if you really want to help, you really want to make sure your benefits don't stop for you and your children, then reach your politician, all three of them, and say, hey, what are you doing to support Social Security? And you know, put your money where your mouth is. Actually do it. And if they start saying, oh, we're going to try to do something about fraud, waste, and abuse. Yes, there's fraud, waste, and abuse in Social Security, and every company out there has some element of fraud, waste, and abuse, but that's not going to do anything to solve the issues of Social Security. That's a drop in the bucket of what is actually needed. So that's a misdirection, just to kind of shut you up. I thought Biden was on our side. Yeah, he has been trying to give him fair. He has always said he was going to support Social Security, but unfortunately, he's never really, it's it's never really come to fruition. He had a plan. You can look on the White House website. He had a plan to smash the cap. He was gonna there was gonna be kind of like a donut hole because it's political type thing. So between you pay FICA, I think it was at up to $250,000. Everybody pays FICA equally up to $250,000, and then from $250,000 to $400,000, then you don't pay the FICA, and then from $400,000 on, then everybody pays the FICA again. So he had an attempt, but nothing really came of it. And the Social Security Fairness Act, he advertised as expanding Social Security benefits, and it's just political theater, unfortunately. If you're one of the 3% that are going to get the extra benefits, I'm sure you love it. But I've done this video. I've done the explanation of how unfair the Social Security Fairness Act is a few times, so I'm not going to go over that again. Um, I am going to have at the end of the month, because a lot of people are still raw about me saying the Social Security Fairness Act is not fair. I'm going to do kind of a Q&A for all those 3% that want to challenge me on that. So we'll talk about the numbers, and it's really bad that the movement that supported the Social Security Fairness Act never really educated their people of what the whole thing was about. They just played on people's emotions and saying, "Hey, teachers, firefighters, don't you want to? Aren't you tired of being discriminated against and getting your benefit cuts?" And so, yeah, it's sad they didn't tell people, give them the details. So, all right, let's see. I hope Medicare can figure my problem out because chapter couldn't. So now I've got a real mess, huh? Wonder what kind of issue you have with original Medicare there. Is it, yeah, they can help you with Medicare supplement plans, Medicare Advantage plan, Part D and stuff. But original Medicare, if you've got an original issue with original Medicare Part A and Part B, then yes, you could get some partial help from the Social Security Administration. But if you have deeper issues with those original Medicare, then yeah, you'll probably have to reach out to Medicare directly. So let's see. What Kennedy said was Social Security does not share their list with Congress. No, that's not what he said. Um, he said that previously, is about 7, 8, 9 years ago now, that they didn't because they didn't have authority to share those lists, those death index, because they got those from the states. And when they got those from the states said, "Hey, this is list is for you. You're not allowed to share it." And so they said, "Okay, we're not allowed to share it unless Congress says we can share it." And then Kennedy says, "Well, why don't you share it?" And Social Security says, "Well, give us the right to share it, and we'll share it." And then they finally did give Social Security the right to share it with the VA and the Department of Treasury and everything like that. So yeah, that's basically what he says. But he said it in a convoluted way, and he put one right next to another, and then people took it up, and yeah. So, and they came up with this another internet myth that 6.2 million people are receiving deceased people are receiving benefits. Yeah. When a DAC starts receiving Social Security from one parent's record, does he need to report to Social Security so they can adjust his SSI benefits? Yes, they'll do that automatically. If a disabled adult child, is receiving SSI, the welfare-based benefit, they are obligated to file for any other benefits they're eligible for. So if a parent is starting retirement or disabled, disability benefits, or deceased, then the child has to file for benefits on that record if they're receiving SSI. So that should be automatic. I wonder if Trump will end taxes, he said. I hope that will help people out. Um, I don't know. I think it's a good idea to end tax, but it won't help the people out that really need the help, because 40, 50% of people don't even pay tax. The people that are living on Social Security alone don't pay taxes on their Social Security benefits. So it's not going to help them. It's going to help out, the people that have other income. And the problem with that is is that there's billions of dollars coming into Social Security Trust Fund from those taxes. So when the people that pay the extra tax pay the tax on their Social Security benefits, the higher 50%, that money goes into the Social Security Trust Fund. The IRS gives that routes to the Social Security Trust Fund. And so that's billions of dollars that are going to be lost. So in the taxes, great. I don't think they should have ever been Social Security taxes on Social Security, but now there is, and if you get rid of it, you have to find billions of more dollars to fill that gap. Or, as I mentioned before, that's one of the reasons why the benefits are going to be cut sooner if the soon to be president does some of the stuff. So again, don't take my word for it. Go into my description in YouTube, and you'll see the analysis of some of the things that if the president elect does, including cutting taxes on Social Security, that's fine, but it's also going to make the cuts happen a lot sooner. So you can check that out in my description. Let's see here. I'm jumping around on the questions. I got tons of questions. What should the FICA cap be raised to? I say there shouldn't be a cap. I said zero cap. Smash the cap. There is no cap on Medicare, and the world didn't end. So if you're making $50,000 or $50 million, you're paying the same in Medicare. Actually, you're paying a little bit more for Medicare because there's after $250,000, you pay an extra 0.9%. And people probably never heard of that. You know, the people that are well off are paying more in their Medicare, and the world didn't end. Karl Marx didn't come back to life. So why shouldn't that also apply to regular Social Security as well? And so let's see. It's like they're telling us you don't have enough lunch money to buy lunch, so give it to us. Yes, yes. We didn't give you a yes, or yeah. I don't know if I want to mess around with that metaphor though. So I think you did good. Is this channel real or fake news? Yeah, it's the reality. Got all the references in the description there, so please check it out. And yep, if you disagree with something, pop it up there, and I'll give you a chance. My mom is a green card holder, 2 years. My father passed away. Can she be eligible for any social supplement benefit in California? And she never worked in the U.S. and 76 years old. Um, California, if you're asking about California, that's a state type issue. But in terms of Social Security, it depends on what type of green card. If you sponsored her or something like that, when you sponsor a parent or something, you promise to the government that you will not have that person collect those type of benefits for like 5 years. So you promised the government, the people, that you would support that person for 5 years. So yeah, so there's that. There's no way any government department should gamble our money. Yes, I agree. And there's the commissions, and that so again, some people want Wall Street to take care of the Social Security benefits, but I think it's going to be one of those heads I win, tails you lose type of thing. When the whoever's going to be handling our money, makes a lot of money, they're going to take a big commission, and when they lose a lot of money, they're gonna say, "Well, sorry, we lost a lot of money. Lost a lot of your money, but we're still taking a big commission." So the usage for disability and other situations was only due early harm for workers. It's a mess they delved into, like eating the Girl Scout cookies before selling them. Exactly, they knew. So what? Okay, not sure. Yeah, in terms of fraud, waste, and abuse, I guess I'll yeah, segue to some of the politicians talk about if we get rid of fraud, waste, and abuse, then everything will be fine and dandy and stuff. No, there's um, 85% of the program, the money that goes out in Social Security goes out into retirement benefits and survivor benefits and spouse benefits. And where is the fraud, waste, and abuse there? It's not. Uh, we had one person that filed a fake application that prosecuted. He was born in a foreign country, and he went back to his country, and he had someone make him a birth certificate that showed he was older, so he would get more benefits as full retirement age. So it's there's not much fraud, waste, and abuse in regular retirement benefits. You're faking your age or something like that. There's obviously people that um, every now and then. We had one person in about 10 years that the children, the parent had passed, and yes, they put the parent in a 55-gallon drum in a storage unit and kept collecting the checks. Yes, that does happen. But that is a very, 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 very small drop in the bucket. Wow, I shouldn't use the bucket phrase there, but anyway. So yeah, so that's kind of a distraction politicians use to just kind of silence you, and so you'll just say, "Oh, okay," and then just walk away, and then you know. Yeah, let's see, Dr. Weir. It's actual recipients' knowledge of the failure of our Social Security system. Don't you suppose improvements could be made by hearing their stories for marked improvement? Yeah, not exactly sure what. Yeah, that's one of the things that we do here is listen to your stories. If Trump doesn't care about the people that voted for him, why would MAGA Republicans represent care what I want or need? Yeah, that's again, you reach out to your politician, and because if you look at any poll that's ever done about the support of Social Security, do you want your Social Security cuts to be checked? As a no, I'm not sure who would say, "Oh yeah, yeah." There's like It's like those dentists, 1 out of 5 dentists said you shouldn't brush or something like that. So it seems, yeah. Um, Opting for the return phone call when you call into Social Security works. I received a call back approximately 2 hours later and she stayed on the phone with me for 31 minutes. Okay, all right, good deal. So some people have had positive, kind of results with that system. But I've out of that one, I've probably seen 10 others that said they were on the phone for 3 hours and they got hung up on and all the rest of it. So Don, my PIA is 2250, so primary insurance amount, the amount the person would receive at their full retirement age. My DAC son, so disabled adult child. A disabled adult child is a child that became disabled before the age of 22. Doesn't get half. Social Security deducts my 1,500 monthly benefit. He gets 750 plus SSI for the rest. Is that a correct calculation? Yeah. Yeah, a disabled adult child, unless there's other children on the record and you're bumping up against the family max, if that is the only child on the record, then they should get half of your actual PIA. Is that your PIA or is that your MBA, your monthly benefit amount, how much you actually receive? Or is it, in fact, your PIA? Um, Deducts my 1,500. Yeah, so it's maybe a family. Yeah, that's if you're those numbers as it is, um, doesn't sound right. If your PIA is that, he should get 50%. So that's about $1,100. And if he's getting $1,100, then shouldn't be receiving SSI. So something down sounds very strange there. Unless there's other children on the record, then you've got the family max issue. All right. Let's see. Please provide data behind your words. Yep, got all the reports in the my description in YouTube. So mentioned that a few times. Yep, just go down there. So why did a guy that was 45 years old get Social Security because he claimed he hated people? Another guy, friend, his brain with drug. Okay, no, okay. Getting some interesting questions today. Let's see here. I was one of the people that signed the petitions to lower the price of insulin. Awesome, good deal. Yeah, so hopefully um, yeah, so hopefully they don't change that. A lot of people they were paying hundreds of dollars for insulin before, right? I was able to get good advice from the folks at my local town hall. They know a good amount and also know who else to reach out to. Yeah, but most of the time, we're talking about national issues. So if you reach out to one of your political representatives, the state, you can do that as well. But make sure you reach out to the politicians, the one that actually goes to, you know, DC. Um, I contacted my representative, Robert Adderholt for the state of Alabama. Awesome, thank you. Dr. Weir, you should do a Joe Rogan podcast. It worked for Trump. Yes, I'm always, if you know anybody that wants to invite me, I'm doing a radio show for Chicago at the end of the month, doing some conference. And so, yeah, if you've got a local news or anything like that wants to have me on, I'd be more than happy to. Yeah, we need to get the word out there. This is going to be the critical year. 2025 is it. If we just sit around and do nothing this year, then yeah, it's our own fault. Let's see. Social Security needs to answer for actual mistakes they make. Yeah, yeah, okay, all right, yeah. Um, let's see. Are you saying, for example, if your benefit amount is 2,000 a month, your divorced spouse has to have a benefit of $4,000 in order to collect part of his? Yeah. So for a spouse benefits, that is, if we're talking about living spouse benefits, then the one benefit amount, the spouse benefit amount, has to be less than half of the other, and we're talking the PIA. A lot of people make the mistake and look at the wrong numbers. The number that Social Security looks at is the primary insurance amount, the amount you would have received if you had waited till your full retirement age. So if you've got one that's 4,000 and the spouse is 2,000, then there's no more money there. If you've got one that's 4,000 and the other one's 1,500, yes, there's more money there. Yeah. But remember, there's a lot of people out there that look at that number and they call up Social Security, and Social Security says, yeah, you're not entitled to benefits because yours is not less than half. And all they hear is, I'm not entitled to benefits on my spouse or my ex-spouse's record. And then It changes when that person passes away because it's no longer up to 50%, it goes up to 100%. So there's a lot of people out there that are missing money. So please like, subscribe, share, and all that kind of good stuff. Support the channel, join, become a member, and all that kind of good stuff. The more information we get out there, the better, because there's people out there right now that are getting benefit cuts because they don't know that their benefits they have benefits available that are sitting there waiting for them at Social Security if they only know to ask. So this is what I'm doing in my semi-retirement, is helping y'all get the benefits you need and are eligible for. How long does it take to have an appeal for an overpayment that is sitting at the payment center? The overpayment is in my favor. Oh, okay, good. So the overpayment is in your favor, so they're supposed to be paying you back. Social Security is at a 50-year low, so there's that. Reach out, but if it's been sitting there for more than a month or 2, then what you do is you do it to it. You reach out to your politician, and in your particular case, you say, "Hey," you can also go onto their websites. All Congress people have on their website, it has a little button that you can push that says, "I need help with a federal agency." So you press that button and you give them your story and you say, "Hey, I've got an overpayment. It's in my favor. They're supposed to be paying back money. It's been a month. It's been 2 months. Um, I want my money." And then number two, what are you doing to improve customer service so people like me don't have to wait 2 months? And what are you doing to make sure there's no cuts in the future? So anytime you reach out to a politician, add those 2 or 3 little remarks there. And we need to keep up on them on a continuing basis, because they have short memories and they will forget. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, they don't forget. They're just, yeah. My daughter is facing surgery. If my daughter on SSDI had her mail restricted by the place where she lives until after the CDR letter said she will lose her benefits, will she be penalized? I would reach out to your local district office and say, my daughter got that is if you actually received the CDR packet, short form, long form, whatever you received, reach out to them and say, "Hey, yes, we have received the CDR. My daughter received the CDR packet, and but we can't get it back in the required time because she's going to the hospital and all that kind of stuff." And they should have no issue with it whatsoever. Um, be- if you haven't received it yet, then don't worry about it. CDRs, Social Security does a terrible job, or they do an awesome job of freaking people out, stressing people out about the CDRs, which is a continuing disability review. So if you're on disability, then every year or 3 years or 5 years or whatever, they send you this packet just to confirm whether you're on disability. And that's one thing President Trump did do in his first term. He wanted to really clamp down on people on disability, people on SSI, and on Medicaid. So that might happen again. So we might have more CDRs going on in the future. But it's a budgetary issue. So if you haven't received a CDR, please just don't worry about it. Just worry about it once you get it, and yeah, don't worry about the rest. Super chat would be a good way to get questions answered for $1. Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't. Yeah, I like to just pop up any questions. I kind of do it at random. People say you're skipping my questions. So I have like hundreds of questions here, so I'm just popping up and see. I read what I push. Husband retired at 14 years old. Oh, and a 14-year-old daughter is getting his child benefit. Also, I get a child and care benefit. She turned 16 in June 2026, and I want to know how my income limits work in 2026. Yeah, it's as long as you stay under that amount once you're receiving benefits. So, but starting June 2026, when you no longer get those child and care benefits, you can make all the money in the world, doesn't matter anymore. So you're done. Let's see here. Dr. Ed, any guidelines for writing an appeal for retirement back pay due to misinformation in and out of Social Security office and during appointments? Thanks for all the help you give out there. You're welcome. Okay, so yeah, this is going to happen a lot going forward. A lot of people are going to miss their months of Social Security retirement checks and disability checks because they're just not able to access their benefits. And again, politicians, this is a plan of theirs. So if you were given misinformation, then SSA 561, it's a request for reconsideration. You submit that and you say, "Hey, On the 561, it's a very short form. It only gives you like 2 or 3 lines. So just put like, "See attached," and then attach, a letter with that and gives your story, that I was told this and actually the fact was this, and so I missed out this many benefits, so I want my case to be reconsidered. And then if they deny your reconsideration, then you can do I don't know if you're in the second stage, you can do a 501, which is the request to see an administrative law judge. And the administrative law judge has a lot more latitude. So David became a member, silver member. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can click the little join button there on my YouTube and become a member. It helps out the channel. And yeah, so we can, this is pretty much the channel is me and my son. And then, obviously we have chapter helping out with Medicare plans, but yeah, an army of two, I guess, right? Sorry to use the army. Yeah, old Marine Corps. I shouldn't use the army thing, but appreciate it. Yeah. Deborah, that's the problem with people. You don't think of solutions. So kind of, let's see. Start with getting rid of the cap. It's only fair. I agree. I agree. Um, Biden sent our money to others, not spending on us. Come on, man. Not sure who he spent it. Yeah, that's another internet myth out there that gave the Social Security money to aliens or from this world or out world or wherever in Ukraine or whatever the case may be. But yeah, that's just an internet myth that isn't correct. So, in order to get retirement benefits or survivor benefits or spouse benefits, you actually have to have a Social Security number, and you actually have to have legal presence in the United States, a green card, a U.S. citizen. So, yeah, the whole thing is, yeah, it's a myth, it's a distraction. So, we need to be smarter in that. I'm retired, but I have insurance through my husband's job. I believe I have the part of medical that covers hospitalization, and they said it was free. Explain this to me because I cannot afford. Okay, so if you have health insurance from your husband's job and he is currently working, it has to be through current work, not like a COBRA or retirement, health insurance. It has to be through current work, and his job, his group health plan has 20 or more employees, then you do not need to sign up for Part B. Okay. You can delay that until you're 67, 70, 77. It doesn't matter. And you won't be penalized. Again, if you have health insurance from current work, 20 or more employees. But yeah, if you have the one that covers hospitalization, which is Medicare Part A, that's zero premium, probably for you. And some people get that even though they have health insurance from work because if you actually go into a hospital, maybe the deductible for Part A is less than the deductible for your employer. So the hospital deductible for 2025 is $1,676. So if you go into the hospital, you pay the first $1,676. Maybe for the plan with your husband, it's $3,000. So there you saved yourself, what, $1,400 or so. So, and then just keep Part A and you can continue on to that until you want to go ahead and get Part B. Let's see, Mark, I'm taking Social Security 2 years early. I'm going to do this for 10 months because financial issues with Social Security allow me to pay back this money when I restart check at FRA. Yeah, there is a way you can do it. There's the withdrawal type thing you can do within 12 months. You start your retirement benefits, and then within 12 months, you withdraw that application, but you have to pay all that money back. Or you can just suspend your benefits. You take it and then say, you start your benefits, you get your monthly benefits because you're going to start another job at the end of the year, starting January and stuff. And so yeah, but I need money until my job starts. And then when your job starts, you just call Social Security and say, hey, I'm going to be going over the annual earnings limit. And so just go ahead and suspend my benefits. So, yep, no problem whatsoever. And then you won't lose those necessarily. Once you hit your full retirement age, what happens is Social Security looks at your record and recalculates your benefits. So if you took your benefits 30 months early, you're reduced for 30 months. But if you only got actual 10 checks and you didn't get the other 20, then it recalculates your benefits and it only reduces you for the actual amount of months you received your benefits. So never let a crisis we created go to waste. Yes, yes, that's exactly it. That is exactly it. They created the crisis and now they're gonna look at like deers in a headlight. Oh my gosh, we have to do something. yeah, why didn't you do something last year or 5 years from now or 10 years from now? And they say, yeah. Let's see. Cheryl, I will be 62 in May. My husband is 56. If I take mine in June, can I go to my husband's whenever he takes his, whenever he retires at 65? Yeah. So you can, yeah, you file for your benefits. And then when your spouse files for benefits on their record, your current spouse, then you go ahead and add those benefits. It's not, not switching. You still continue to receive your benefits. You just add the benefits on top, right? And then one offsets the other. The full benefit amount offsets the other. So it's a strange calculation there. Um, Retired to government employees with 25 quarter hours. The what wife's benefits are available except Medicare. Yeah. So if you're not insured for Social Security, that you did not pay the 40 quarters, then if your wife didn't pay her 40 quarters, then unfortunately nothing. Yeah. Um, Instead of privatizing, can't they invest money in high yield plan? Then again, who would you give that to, and where would you invest that in? And so, yeah, that's the question. Some people agree with it, and some countries do that. Canada, Australia does something like that, but I don't know. I just don't. Maybe the cynical part of me, I just don't trust our politicians. They'll make some backroom deal to, is Enron still around? Yeah. So I think they've been reconfigured or something, right? I went to my local Social Security office Friday, had an appointment, was crowded. Over half the people didn't have an appointment. I did not see any sign on the door. Yeah, so some offices kind of in rural areas, country areas that are not very busy, they're allowed to kind of the manager. I talked about this yesterday. The manager has the discretion to let people in the door and stuff like that. But yeah, it really depends on where you're at, your neck of the woods. How much interest did the trust fund make in 2016 and 2024? Not sure about 2016, but in 2024, well, we don't have the numbers for 2024 yet. But I can tell you the trust fund in in 2023 made was it 63 billion dollars. So over 60 billion dollars. So, yep. So we are making a return on our investment, but anytime you invest in something super, super, super safe, you're not going to get a super awesome, a return on your investment. So, but that's, anytime, with your 401k or whatever you have, that's what they always recommend. The closer you get to retirement, the more you should put in the safest thing you possibly can. And for every country in the world, they know the safest investment in the world are US Treasury bonds. So people say, "Oh, Treasury bonds, it's all fake money." Yeah, until Wall Street wants it, right? So I agree. No cap, zero cap. Yes, please. My husband passed away 27 years ago. I received benefits for a few years until our youngest daughter turned 18. Do I get to receive benefits again now that I'm older? Yes. Whatever you received previously has no effect on any benefits you're eligible for in the future. So remember, you can start your survivor benefits as early as 60 years old. So 60 years old, you can start survivor benefits. Obviously, they're reduced to 71.5% of that benefit amount. But yeah, what you received previously has no effect on that whatsoever. So, yep, definitely file. And with the survivor benefits, obviously, then there's the work limitation as well, that you're still limited to everybody else. So. Let's see. I'm really jumping around here with questions. Can I receive Social Security off my ex-husband income? I'm receiving 802 plus 184 a month. When I applied, they called me back and they said mess up, but I said it was too late to change it. Can you receive benefits off your ex? Yeah, if your ex-spouse's full benefit amount is over twice yours, yes. You were married to the person for 10 years. You're not currently married, and all the rest of it. That all changes if we're talking about the survivor benefits. So, Gary, thank you for your help. You're welcome. I thought an Advantage Plan PPO also let you go to any doctor. Yeah, PPO, they let you, HMO is kind of very, very limited doctor. Sometimes the benefits are a little bit better in a HMO because the doctors are contracted, and so the companies, the insurance company saves a little bit more money, so they give you a little bit extra benefits, a little more cost savings if you use an HMO. If you're gonna do a Medicare Advantage and you're in a big city, I kinda always recommend an HMO because there's tons of doctors in the network. But if you're in the country or out in the desert out west or something like that, away from a big city, then yes, a PPO has an expanded network. Most doctors that take Medicare, yeah, PPO is an expanded network. So I don't know about any doctor, but more doctors than an HMO, 100%. I'm going to have a couple of people that Thomas and Alyssa from Chapter, because we're in the middle of the enrollment period right now. I'm going to have them probably towards the end of the month. Have them come in and answer all your questions about all things Medicare as well. So. I'm a veteran. All my medical is through the VA. Do I need Medicare? Yeah, that's a good question. I'm sure the reason you're asking is because, do I have to pay that $185, for Part B? Part A, you're probably receiving Part A if you're receiving Social Security benefits. But Part B, there are plans, kind of those what I talked about, the Part B give back type things. There are plans that pay for that Part B, and a lot of those are called veteran or honor plans or patriot plans because they're directed to people, to vets that use the VA medical system. Um, and the reason a lot of vets get those is because they want a fallback in case the VA system starts turning bad, or they want a second opinion, or they move, or something like that. They want to fall back just in case, but they don't want to pay for it while they don't need it. So they get one of those, Medicare Advantage Part B give back plans, so they don't have to pay as much or anything at all, depending on what's available in your area. And, that way, because if you just drop it completely and then the VA system turns bad or you move or whatever you want a second opinion, and if you decide to pick up your Part B later, 5 years from now, then guess what? You're going to pay a 50% penalty for the rest of your life. So, yeah, you can reach out to Chapter and they can see if there's one of those Part B veteran type plans in your area and help you enroll if you decide that you want to do it. Also, your constant statements to FICA on wealthier people who will never get anything out of Social Security smacks of communism. You don't penalize people for doing well in life. Well, I mean, it's there's people that receive paid into Social Security their entire life, and they pass away at 60 years old, and they don't get anything. There's people that pay into Social Security and they bump up against the family max because they don't get any more benefits. Medicare. So, social, that's the part of Social Security. There's people that pay into, car insurance that never have an accident. So, car insurance, and I guess is communism as well. My daughter is facing surgery. Okay, already answered that one. Is it true that the George Bush administration borrowed 1.7 trillion from Social Security Trust Fund and never repeat it? I'm told that it's worth 2.7 trillion now. Why would no one? Yeah, no, that's a myth. That's a internet myth. No, nothing has been stolen out of the Social Security Trust Fund. The money is invested in Treasury securities. It's being paid back. If you're getting Social Security, you're getting part of the trust fund being paid back. The problem is when they devised the trust fund in the early 80s, a couple of their assumptions were wrong. They didn't really plan for us having less kids, and less kids mean less people working and less people paying into FICA. And the big one they missed is our wages. The average person's wages throughout since the 1980s have pretty much been flat. I'm sure y'all can attest to that. Hasn't really kept up with an inflation. We would like to pay more FICA. We'd have to make more money in order for us to pay more FICA, right? But the problem is our wages since the 1980s have been flat, and the 1 or 10%, wow, they've been killing it, and that's eventually going to trickle down to us. And just keep waiting. We our efficiency on our work, productivity in our work has increased, but our wages have stayed the same. But eventually, we'll get rewarded. Sarcasm alert. And because that money that we used to make is now going out of the FICA cap, it's no longer being paid into FICA. So in the 1980s, they didn't anticipate that much money going out of FICA, out of the FICA purview. So yes, that's the issue. Oh, I'm way, way over. So yeah, I always like to keep these to an hour, and I apologize. I'm way out of time, and I've got tons of questions, but I will be back again tomorrow and answer a whole bunch more of your questions. Y'all have a beautiful night, and we'll see you then. And reach out to your politicians. Let's make sure they don't try to privatize, give it your money over to Wall Street.